I walked in my class one day, and I was doing a unit on shyness. Any of you ever worked with really shy kids? You can relate to this. I walked in and I made a stupid comment. I said, "Any shy people in here?" Like they would raise their hands. But I said, let me change that. Who is the shyest person in this room? And every student turned and pointed to this young man named Gary. And I'll have to admit, he was probably the shyest student I have ever seen. When they turned around and pointed at him, if Gary could have crawled in his jacket and died, he would have done it. He is so shy, I had never heard him speak once during class. I looked at him, I said, "Gary, are you shy?" And he was just petrified. I said, "Gary, if you come to the front of the room, I got a little activity I swear will help you with your shyness." Well, he wasn't going to move. We had to drag this kid to the front of the room and place him in a chair. And when he sat in that chair, he was stiff as a board, just like that. I said, "Gary, I got this activity. It'll just take 1 minute. I swear it will help you with your shyness. I need a volunteer." Gary was a sophomore. I had a senior girl sitting right here in the front row. Cheerleader, real pretty, big mouth. I said, "I need a volunteer." And she goes, I'll help. I said, "Okay, come up here." I took this pretty girl's chair and put it right in front of Gary. Their knees were almost touching. She's sitting right there looking at him. He's sitting in his chair like that. I said, "Gary, this is what I want you to do. Just try it. I swear it will help you with your shyness. All I want you to do for 1 minute, I'll time it on my watch, is look into this pretty girl's eyes. That's all. Ready? Go." This kid sat there and never moved. I went, "Time," and the girl goes, "He didn't look at me. Coach, he never looked at me." I said, "Okay, calm down, calm down." I said, "Gary, one more time, I'll let you go back to your chair, but I'm telling you, it will help you with your shyness. 1 minute, just look in her eyes. 1 minute. Ready? Go." This girl reaches out, grabs his hands, and goes, "Look at me!" And this kid goes. Every time he put his eyes down, "Look at me!" The last 15 seconds, he did this. Lifted his face. And I go, "Time." I said, "Gary, was that better?" And he spoke. Real quietly, he goes, "Yeah." I said, "Gary, why was that better?" And he said something that caught us off guard. He said, "She touched me." I said, "What? What did you say?" "She touched me." There are some students who are so shy, they will go a whole day and never talk. Can you imagine what that feels like? See, shyness is a worth issue. Now, Gary had to go to the bathroom real bad after that. So I let him go. But when he left the room, I turned to the class and I said, "Next time you see Gary in the hall, you don't have to rescue him. You don't have to buddy up with him, hang out with him. Just next time you see him in the hall, how much would it take when you walk by if you just say, 'Hey, Gary'? What would that take you, like a second? That second of attention is like putting a cold drop of water on a dying plant. That second of attention is enough to make him go from here to there. And teachers, when they raise their heads 6 inches, you got them. That is the power of worth. In their brain, they think, "I don't like myself, but my teacher likes me." And they may not try for themselves, but they'll try for you. If people don't feel like they're worth anything, they never try. One of the magic of being a teacher is that drop of worth that you place on your students every day. They never forget that. My teacher likes me. Whether they're an A student, whether they're an F student, my teacher likes me. It's powerful. One year I was coaching 8th grade basketball, and a young man came out for the team named Donald Genry. Donald Genry suffered from, let me get this straight, cystic fibrosis. Okay, at the time, I didn't know a lot about cystic fibrosis children, but I learned. Back then, children born with cystic fibrosis rarely lived to be freshmen in high school. As they grow older, their lungs fill up with fluid, and they have to cough really hard just to breathe. Donald Genry came out for basketball for the first time in his life in 8th grade. He had to know what was about to happen to him. When he came out for tryouts, he could run up and down the court one time. And no matter what else was going on, he would bend over and start coughing hard just to breathe. These are pale, weak children. I didn't have the heart to cut him. I thought I was being a nice guy. I kept him on the team. I gave him a uniform. I let him sit on the end of the bench. Every game, at the end of the game, when the game was about over, I'd walk down, I'd say, Donald, go in. He'd run past me, and everybody on the bench would start cheering for him. He'd go in the game, run up and down the court one time, and no matter what else was going on in the game, he would bend over and start coughing. I'd take him out. Everybody in the stands would give him a standing ovation. He'd run down and sit on the end of the bench. I thought I was being a nice guy. Until one day at practice. We're at the end of practice. We're getting ready to run sprints. And before we start, I noticed Donald standing on the line, and his cough is really bad this day. So again, thinking I'm being a nice guy, I walk up to Donald and I say, Genry, step out. This kid looks up at me and goes, what? I said, step out. You don't have to do these. He looks at me and says, no, coach. I'm getting better. We're getting better. Puts his head down, starts running. What makes this kid try? I mean, he had to know. I've coached thousands of kids. They don't all try. I gave him an excuse, and he wouldn't take it. Why? You know, I started watching this kid after that. Every day he came to practice, he had a smile on his face. He never had a bad day. He's always up, and he had to know what was about to happen to him. One day I called him over. I said, Genry, come here. He goes, yeah, coach. I said, how come you're always grinning? What are you up to? He goes, coach, people love me. I said, they sure do. Now go shoot free throws. After that, I started playing him different. Instead of waiting for the end of the game when it wasn't worth anything, I started putting him in the game when it's worth the most, because this kid's got a heart. Anytime we got behind, I don't care if it was the first minute, Genry, go help him out. Okay, coach. He'd run by, everybody clap for him. He'd go in, run up and down the court one time, start coughing, I'd take him out, everybody'd stand up and clap. I'd say, good job, man. He'd go sit down. We get behind again, Genry, go bail him out again. Okay, coach. He'd run in, everybody'd start clapping. He'd go in the game one time, come out, the whole gym would start clapping. It was amazing. Like changed the whole momentum of the game. How could you not hustle with Donald as your teammate? Arms and legs. And every day, her grandfather would say to her, we love you, Tina. You can do it. Every day. With the help of her grandfather, doing this every day, by the time she was 5 years old, she went to school on time, but in a wheelchair. Now, she still couldn't talk till 3rd grade because of the stiffness of the muscles in her face. But still, her grandfather continued every day, "We love you, Tina. You can do it." By the time she got to junior high, with his help, the stretching, the exercises, she could leave her wheelchair behind and use a walker to get down the hallway. Now, the first time I ever saw her was in high school. And I'm standing in the hallway and I hear this noise. And I look over and here's this girl walking down this packed, crowded hallway in this walker. And she would take her walker and go up behind a good-looking boy while they weren't looking and gig him in the butt. And they'd go, "Whoo!" And she'd do, "Hi, Billy." And they'd get all embarrassed and they'd walk away. And she'd laugh and she'd walk a little bit further and gig another one in the butt. "Hi, Zach." "Oh, hi, Tina." And they'd walk away and she'd just crack up laughing. That was Tina. Every day she'd sit right in the front row of my health class, big smile on her face, just like Donald. Every day. Never a bad mood. You would think someone, this wasn't her fault, would have a reason to be angry, bitter, upset. No. Every day, big smile on her face. Except for one day. I stood up in front of class and I said, "I'm giving you an assignment for Friday. Your assignment is to memorize the poem Don't Quit. There's 3 stanzas. When I call your name on Friday, you must stand up and recite 1 stanza by memory. Now, if you can do all 3, I'll give you bonus points. But you have to do at least 1. The assignment is worth," and as I say that, I happen to look at Tina, and she's frowning. And I remember she can't read. So real quickly I say, the assignment is worth 10 points. Make sure you have it done by Friday. The bell rings, all the students leave. I look at Tina, she's still frowning. I'm thinking, Tina, 10 points, big deal. Just don't do it. Friday comes, all the students walk in class. Here comes Tina in her walker. She's still got a frown on her face. I'm thinking, Tina, come on, 10 points. But I sit behind my desk, I open my grade book up, and I call the first student's name. "Oh, sorry, Coach, I forgot to do it, but it's only 10 points, right?" And I go, "Yeah." I look at my grade book, I call it, "Oh, sorry, Coach, I had a ball game last night, but it's only 10 points, right?" "Yeah." I look at the next, "Oh, sorry, Coach, I had to work." The first 6 people I called on blew it off.